Since early April, Russian forces have stepped up the use of so-called barn tanks, tanks covered in metal armored boxes to protect them from drone strikes, with an increasing range of new designs appearing on the front line. In discussion, Andriy Yusov, a spokesperson for Ukraine's Military Intelligence Directorate, HIR, said that the systematic use of such tanks, which have also been called turtles, has been noticed during the latest Russian offensive in the Kharkiv region and near the town of Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region, where fierce fighting is ongoing. The modified tanks began to appear as the number and types of unmanned aerial vehicles (UAV) or drones deployed by Ukraine expanded, and whose first-person view (FPV) drones began to effectively destroy enemy personnel and equipment. The Russians started looking for some countermeasures. This involves electronic countermeasures as well as such artisanal engineering structures and facilities as grills or chicken coops and barns, Yusuf said. On Monday, May 20th, soldiers of the 148th Separate Artillery Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU, told Radio Liberty how Russian troops deployed barn tanks in an attack at Novomykhailivka in the Donetsk region. According to their account, while conducting reconnaissance using a US Puma drone, they spotted a group of 3 vehicles, led by a barn tank, in front of assault groups, being carried by 2 armored personnel carriers. Our units started working, used artillery and FPV drones and stopped their advance after about a kilometer, a Ukrainian soldier called Ivan said. According to Yusuf, these bulky constructions, normally made from improvised materials, need to be supported by the crew from other armored vehicles, even though they currently do limit the effectiveness and complicate the use of Ukraine's drones against them. But for their part, Ukrainian developers and operators are constantly improving methods to counter these enemy innovations and are deploying newer and more tactical unmanned aerial vehicles, Yusuf added. These barn tanks are increasingly being used to clear landmines ahead of armored personnel carriers, but not always successfully. A recent video posted on social media shows one of these vehicles trying to break through a minefield at full speed, but a mine explodes, disabling the tank and forcing the crew to flee. In October last year, Russia's Zavod unveiled new production T-72B3 tanks already fitted with its own design of standardized anti-drone canopy. Russia's RIA Novosti reported that production T-72B3 tanks, the standardized canopy, was developed taking into account the artisanal structures. But the artisanal structures that tankers of the Russian armed forces created on their own to protect the key parts of the tank from drones, as well as analyzing the effectiveness of these artisanal canopies in combat situations. The Rostec State Corporation said that the factory-made canopy was created to protect the roofs of T-72B3 tanks, adding that this simple but effective solution was suggested by the experience gained during the SVO's special military operation. While T-72B3 tanks of the design protects the vehicles and crews well from kamikaze drones and ammunition dropped from drones, previously troops used to make such canopies in a handicraft way, and now new tanks are being equipped with the protective grid as standard. Meanwhile, a prominent Russian military blogger has raised concerns that Moscow is faltering in its offensive in the Kharkiv region amid high losses, which could precede a Ukrainian counterattack, as a map shows the latest state of play. A push started on May 10th by Moscow in the northeastern Ukrainian region just over the border has seen Russian forces gain momentum, reportedly capture several settlements and enter the town of Vovchansk. However, a Telegram post by the channel War Gonzo, which is associated with Russian special services and has more than 1 million followers, described how large losses by Moscow's forces could precede Ukrainian forces seizing the initiative. The post on Tuesday reads, "Do the Ukrainian armed forces have the potential to turn the situation around on the Kharkiv front?" And of course they do. These are not my wild guesses, but real frontline mathematics, which I tried to assess while traveling along the roads of the Kharkiv border area over the last few days. The Post also adds, noting a Russian breakthrough to the village of Lipsy and entry into Vovchansk, the bad thing is that every day it becomes more and more difficult, and Russian forces faced Ukraine's massive artillery fire, combined with drones and reserve troops. After observing roads in the area, War Gonzo said that Ukrainian forces were not knocked out and have begun to hit back, and that now the numerical superiority is on the Ukraine side. You can talk as much as you like about the quality and motivation of Ukrainian personnel, but now there's every reason to believe that the enemy forces massed in the Kharkiv direction may be enough to seize the initiative. In its update on Monday, the latest map by the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, showed Russian claims that Moscow had captured the settlements of Zabain and northern parts of Staritsa, as well as Vovchansk. The ISW's assessment added that, amid Russia's offensive operations near Lipsy on Monday, there were no confirmed changes to the front line in this area, which lies northeast of Ukraine's second biggest city of Kharkiv. David Silby, associate professor of history at Cornell University, says, if Russia manages to capture Kharkiv, or at very least the ring road around it, that gives them access to the road network into central Ukraine and cuts Ukrainian forces farther to the east off from easy resupply. The ISW has previously said that Ukraine's ability to defend itself in the region has been compromised by the US prohibition on the use of American-provided weapons on Russian territory. This policy was reiterated by US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Monday, and Austin told reporters, "Our expectation is that Kyiv use US-supplied weapons on targets within Ukraine," as he said Moscow had opened up another front in the Kharkiv region.